The latest out of the White House, where President Trump says the summit with North Korea could still happen.
We'll see what happens. It could even be the 12th. We're talking to them now. They very much want to do it. We'd like to do it. We're going to see what happens.
Anita Kumar is White House correspondent for McClatchy News and joins us now. Okay, Anita, one day the summit's off, the next day it's on. The president says maybe. It's sort of back and forth here. What's the strategy that the White House is trying to piece together here?
Well, I mean, this is typical Donald Trump, right? One day you hear something and one day you hear something else. The strategy clearly was, when they announced that it was going to be off yesterday, was that they had just not gotten they had not heard back from the North Koreans for the last week. They got stood up when they went to Singapore for this advance trip. And so they felt like they felt like they might even call it off. And so before North Korea called it off, the United States called it off. What happened today was that the North Koreans sent a very nice statement, made a nice statement saying that they would be willing to meet still, and that they hope that the United States would consider it. And so he is again. So, this is how typical of this White House, where we don't really know from one day to another. It goes back and forth.
The president has also asked if he thought North Korea was playing games with their recent actions, and he responded, "Everybody plays games." That remark is obviously turning some heads, because games and nukes usually aren't something you want to play with. How are members of Congress reacting to all of this?
Right. I think someone had used that word, and they probably just meant what he has been talking about all this week, President Trump, on just how deal making works, which is, you just never really know what's going on. Sometimes you have to walk away. And he's actually talked about that quite a lot. Tuesday and Wednesday, when he spoke to the media, he had just been talking about that. But, I think so far we've seen on Capitol Hill a lot of partisan remarks. Republicans, or those who supported the meeting in the first place, say it's great that he decided not to do it, because you always know when you're not playing with a strong deck, or a strong hand rather, and so it was smart for him to do that. But Democrats and critics are saying that he never had a strategy in the first place, and he's just going back and forth.
Anita, I want to ask you about another story about that bipartisan DOJ briefing on the Hill yesterday, and the allegations that an FBI informant actually spied on the Trump campaign. Democrats were really upset that the White House lawyer Emmett Flood was in attendance. What was really their issue on this?
Right. So you'll recall that at this meeting, this was only supposed to be Republicans at first. The White House brokered this meeting. The Chief of Staff, John Kelly, got this meeting together with DOJ officials and some Republicans, and the Democrats said no way, that they wanted in. So they did get to come in. There were actually two meetings, and you're right, the president's personal attorney and John Kelly, the Chief of Staff, came to the top of the meeting, so just for the very beginning part, just to relay a message, the White House says, from the president, that they were going to try to be open with this situation. Democrats, Senator Warner in particular, and Congressman Adam Schiff, said that they thought it was inappropriate, that they've never seen a situation where there's an intelligence briefing, a classified briefing, where other people from the White House were there. So, I mean, obviously they're saying that that the president's trying to glean some information about about this case, for his own case, to defend himself in this Russia investigation.
The president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, suggested that he won't send the president to sit with the special counsel until more information is released about that FBI informant. Are the goalposts moving here?
I don't know. He has said something different every day. He has said there wouldn't be an interview, then he said there would, and then after the North Korea summit was called off just yesterday, he said, well, maybe we will have that meeting now. He has more time to spend on it. I don't know, and I don't think they know what they want to do yet. They're still trying to figure out that strategy about whether it's the smartest thing for him to sit down and talk to the special prosecutor or not.
Okay, Anita, before you go, I've got to ask you about your own reporting on the president's pardon of boxer Jack Johnson. The president credited actually Sylvester Stallone, of all people, for bringing the case to his attention. But didn't lawmakers also petition the president on this one?
Right. There have been a pair of lawmakers. One was Senator John McCain, who's been asking the president for a number of years, not just this president. He asked President George W. Bush. He asked President Barack Obama. People thought that he had a really good chance with Barack Obama, obviously the first African-American president. Jack Johnson is African-American. They thought that he would go ahead and do that, but to no avail. And last spring, there was a resolution introduced in the Senate asking Donald Trump to do the same thing. I don't know if he didn't see that or not, but he is actually crediting Sylvester Stallone in April with bringing this to his attention.
Anita Kumar, thank you for joining us, Anita.
Sure, thank you.